welcome everyone to another episode of the Adeptus Ridiculous. My name is DK, and through the Adeptus Ridiculous, I've slowly been learning more and more, and I think I can safely say I know a little bit about Warhammer 40k now, thanks to Bricky, who has been sort of guiding us through the twists and turns of all the ridiculousness of Warhammer. But before we get into today's episode, if you enjoy the podcast, please head on over to patreon.com/adeptusridiculous, where you can get tons of benefits for joining the Patreon or supporting the podcast, be it HD posters that are very nice. You get access to all of them. You get access to all of them, not just this week's, not just last week's, but all of them, and outtakes and blooper reels and stuff like that. So if you enjoy the podcast, patreon.com/adeptusridiculous. Also, Bricky, before I throw it over to you, do you realize that we are less than $5 away from hitting the $9,000 goal and you having to do an Alpha Legion episode?
Fuck.
I was hoping for that kind of reaction. So, you know, I'm just letting you know, you gotta prepare for an Alpha Legion episode because it is 100% going to happen.
Okay, I'm gonna get ready.
Good luck. You want to tell everybody
buddy.
about the book club and the merch now that I've dropped that bombshell on you?
Yeah, book club. The book for the next month, early July, will be Gaunt's Ghost, the first installment, the first and only. You do not need to read all 9, just the first book. It's Gaunt's Ghost. It's amazing. Definitely read it. The new minis are actually on pre-order right now if you want to grab them as well. The rules actually look pretty good, unlike most of Guard. And yeah, I know, it hurts.
Yikes.
And also, if you want to check out any merchandise, orchidate.com, or check out the link in the description. We've got shirts, hoodies, and Doge Van Dyer stickers. Today, we're doing a wonderful World Eaters episode, but I want to preface this by saying we're doing it a little different. So for a while, we've done a Legion/chapter episode, and it's mainly been about the Primarch, because that's kind of the way the chapter goes.
Yeah.
But instead, those generally end up being like an hour and a half, really long. So what we're going to do instead is today, we're going to talk about the World Eaters and Angron. And then we'll do this one's on Angron. Today, this week, Angron. And then next week, we'll be on World Eaters. I'll have some additional stuff. We'll talk more about some of the World Eaters characters, what they're up to nowadays, a little bit more about their traditions, that kind of stuff. And we might actually, like, retroactively do some more on the prior legions. Perhaps we'll talk a little bit more about, like, the Night Lords or, like, the Ultramarines in a more basic sense. After we get this stuff done, but I need to finish reading the Night Lord's Omnibus before I can get that going.
Ooh, I'm looking forward to more supplementary info on the Night Lords, because that was a great episode. Love the Night Lords, love Kurz, but really looking forward to Angron and 40K's, Angron, 40K's not so subtle naming scheme. 40K in the curious case of the not so subtle name. I wonder if Angron's angry, right? I don't know.
Angron, the curious case of subtlety. What is it? So, might as well just get jumping into this, because Angron, like Kurz, I was like, it's this big angry man, it's Khorne, the buff of the blood god, and then I read him and I'm like, wow, this is sad. This is sad. And then I kind of felt bad because I think me before this podcast and before I had to do a lot more looking up stuff, research, I was very much like an Imperial, where I kind of only knew what Imperials would know. So I was like, Angron, yeah, he's that idiot who's always angry and stuck nails in his brain to make himself angrier. That's not quite the case. It's
from what little I know about, like, Warhammer, whenever Angron comes up, there's always like, oh, angry, me, spike impale head. But then there's always like these comments for like, yo, maybe don't make fun of him so much, because it's actually like super hardcore depressing why he does that and why he's so angry, and it's actually a lot more complex. So, ooh, I want to know more.
Well, I don't want people to gatekeep Angron's feelings, because that's pretty a low you can hit, but there is definitely interesting. So, Emperor, Mount Everest, or Himalayan Mountains, whatever. tubes, Zinch or whoever, flying out of the galaxy. Angron landed on a, quote, civilized world far, far away in the galaxy called Nuceria. And Nuceria was technologically advanced, actually decently, but was ruled over by a very wealthy elite in palaces and villas with slums and favelas all around past them. You ever seen that famous picture of Brazil where it's like a gorgeous hotel or like, you know, skyscraper, and then it just cuts right next to it and just straight up slums?
Slums, yeah, and it's just like all these, like, they're basically living in like trash heaps, and they're just these stilted yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, so it's basically like that. And the oligarchic rulers used consistent, regular gladiatorial death matches in these huge arenas to distract the lower class from their poverty.
Oh.
So it was one of those, like, with a big wealthy elite used gladiator arenas to make the impoverished less angry. And a slaver was the first to find Angron way up in this mountain. And Angron was bloody and battered, surrounded by alien corpses high up on the mountain. Oh. And Imperial Record doesn't really know what species they are. Some think it was Eldar, who were trying to kill the Primarch because they foretold what he would become. Which, I gotta be honest, I don't like Eldar a whole lot, but having them all get fucked by an infant sounds like a little bit of a disservice to the Eldar.
Little bit. Oh, that's true, because he'd be an infant at this point, right? It's
he'd
not
be
like
very
he'd be
young,
full-grown little infant just dunking on Eldar.
Yeah, so maybe not Eldar. Maybe they were like, maybe they sent like 3 civilian Eldar, like, hey, just strangle the kid in his crib. I don't know. Either way, Angron was super wounded, but he alive, and he was taken as a slave by the planet's ruling masters. They're called the High Riders, which, I mean, yeah, it's cool. And he was brought to a palace at the most powerful city-state, and he was sold as a slave to the ruling clan of House Thalkir. Now, he was still a frightened young child at this point, and the first thing they did with him is they took him and 99 other guys, and he was going Fortnite Battle Royale, gonna get down. Angron wiped out Tomato Town, and they fucking threw him into a pit, and then they started pouring acid into the pit.
Oh! As if the deathmatch wasn't enough.
No, like, here's acid, you know, you gotta raise the stakes, go kill your fellow friends. And so, you know, Chug Jug here, fucking Fortnite dab there, Rick Sanchez in Fortnite, Angron was the final one to live, and stood on a big plot.
I hate that those are all actual Fortnite references, like...
Just you wait, DK. They have Rick Sanchez in Fortnite, wait till they partner with GW. Wait until we have Ultramarine in Fortnite. It will happen.
That would be kind of cool, though. Like, Rick Sanchez in Fortnite is like, oh my god, I didn't think I could cringe any harder at Fortnite, and then they fucking... But at least an Ultramarine is like, it's a warrior, he's a big guy, and, you know, dunking on an Ultramarine, and from like a 12-year-old dunking on an Ultramarine sounds like the funniest shit ever to me, so let's go. I'm all about that life.
I want to make it more dark. Make it like a fucking Dark Eldar Archon in Fortnite. Or like a succubus in Fortnite. Just get like a slave.
Just slave.
I want to play as
Fortnite slave.
I want to play as Drukhari slave, Dad. Give me $20 for my V-Bucks.
Ooh, Drukhari slave. Ooh, yuck. Yeah.
Anyway, Angron got the victory royale. And he was, he got number 1, of course. He survived by standing on like a little pillar and with the acid and killing everyone else. So he was brought to the most popular arena in the entire capital. And he was given the name Angron Thalkir, which means child of the mountain. Which, you know, he was found in a mountain. Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
You get it. You understand.
Yeah.
So Angron grew big.
Subtle.
Yeah. After our Fortnite conversations. So anyway, he grew up, he grew big, of course. He was forced to take part in the gladiatorial games all the time. He was a huge fan favorite. He was known as the Lord of the Red Sands. Also because he would actually like spare those that fought really well. He was known as the Unbeaten as well. However, during this period of time of him being like this god tier fighter, he resented his slavery heavily. He tried to escape constantly. He was like always. He also had a dog, I think.
Aw.
And I think Shai posted a picture of him. There he is.
Oh, he does it. Ooh, he does have a dog, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a crazed ass. He's a crazy fucking gladiator, man.
Even his dog is angry. Look at that dog. He's pissed.
Even the dog is that's little Angron, little Ang.
Little Angie. Yeah.
Little Ang. We gotta have a whole story about Angron being like the most angry son of a bitch, and then like whenever his dog comes by, he's like, "Are you angry, little Ang?" And the dog's like, "Woof." It's like, "Me too."
I love it. Print it.
So at this time though, like, was he angry? I guess, but he was angry at his confines. Just he was constantly trying to escape his slavery, right? Eventually, he grew this huge bond with an older gladiator known as Oenomus.
Oh.
You can tell there's definitely a lot of like old Rome, little bit of that, like a little bit of the old gladiatorial thing. You get the
Roman gladiatorial combat. Yeah.
I mean, Ultramarines are like,
right?
Yeah, Ultramarines are like the Rome people, obviously, but this is like a different variant, I guess.
Yeah.
But he was another gladiator. He grew kind of a bond with this Oenomus guy, and he eventually became kind of like a father figure to him, and they fought together, and they killed many gladiators together, two of them, including two berserk Ogryn that had these implants in their head, known as the butcher's nails, which we'll talk about. Those butcher nails.
Those will come up again, eh?
Eventually, because they just thought it was such a good fucking time, the higher ups forced the two of them to fight each other.
Of course they did.
Angron was like, no. And then he flat out insulted them in front of the crowd. He was like, you lily-livered ass, you stupid fucking little Ang, tell him. Woof. Like, that's what I thought too.
So this is really turning into Gladiator, like with
a little bit.
I'm the best gladiator. I'm not gonna do what you want. Fuck you. Thumbs down me all you want. I'll do my own shit.
There's a lot of gladiator slave fighting, hates the higher. Yeah, there's a lot of gladiator in this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. It's a good movie, but subtlety.
Gee,
however,
subtle.
because he refused, he was forced to actually get the butcher nails into his head as punishment. Now, the butcher nails.
Oh, that's how he gets them. Oh,
yeah.
That sucks. Oh, that's
so the butcher nails, these are from the Dark Age technology. These are old tech. And they're chordal implants that are dug deep into the fucking head of the person. And they boost adrenaline, increasing strength and aggression in battle. But they also remove the warrior's mind of all reason, caution, and morality. They literally reward rage with electrochemical pleasure, and they deaden the enjoyment of anything else besides rage.
Ooh.
They literally, like, you become super angry, and it'll like get your brain like electrized. Electrized? What the fuck?
Yeah, it gets all those pleasure receptors going.
Yeah. Words.
Yeah,
Words.
That
energized.
Sounds like a fucked up tool. Yeah, that doesn't sound happy fun times.
Yeah, and with them in his head, he was sent immediately against his father figure and just like ripped him into pieces. And when he regained his senses, he saw what he did, and he was thrown into a depression that apparently, and this is fucking silly to me, but they said he unleashed a howl that lasted for several days, which I don't know if a man could scream for multiple days, but he was still pretty fucking sad.
Like, you can say that he got sad without being like, yeah, he howled for an entire day. No, he didn't. No,
I don't believe that. But point being, he's really sad.
Oh yeah, super depresso, absolutely.
So after that, this is when he went for like full on rebellion. Another escape attempt that he tried and failed. Which reminds me, you're probably wondering how the hell does he keep failing these escape attempts when he's fucking Angron?
Mm-hmm.
It's because the higher ups, they're not like, this isn't like a super backwater gladiator war. Like, they have guns. They have armies. They have tanks. Like,
Ooh.
this isn't just backwater gladiator stuff. They have a military force.
Yeah. Especially the higher ups too, because it's impoverished and it's super high class. So I assume they would have some pretty choice defenses to stop rebellions, like the lower class from rebelling. They've got I can see that.
You feel it. Mm-hmm. Now during this whole last big rebellion thing, he recommended the largest gladiator pit fight of all time, like thousands of people. And he actually conspired with all the other gladiators, all the other slaves, as they kind of all saw him as like the best of them, to all kind of revolt together. Now, in that giant, fight, when the fight began, they all turned on the guards and lost a ton of people due to firearms, but they were able to actually overwhelm the guards and escape with about 2,000 gladiators, stealing weapons and pouring into the streets.
Yeah.
Now, over the next few years, the rulers sent many armed forces to capture all the different gladiators, who began calling themselves the Eater of Cities. However, often they were all beaten by Angron and his, military prowess.
Sure.
However, combination of like attrition and hunger started to really take their toll. And with time, only about maybe 1,000 men and women were still alive at this point. Just due to like attrition and stuff. And at
How
this
many
point,
people did you say were in the fight that like overturned? Was it 10,000? He started out.
It was a lot, thousands, maybe 10,000. All I know is that 2,000 escaped, and then there's 1,000 left. And at this point, during this period of time, Angron was chilling, doing whatever he was doing, planning or whatever, and then a man known as Big E was staring.
Hey.
He was in his ship looking down at the whole of what's going on. He was really impressed. He was like, wow, I like it when you fight back against good old oppression. I like that you're fighting for yourself. This is great. So Big E teleported down with a big, legion of custodes and was like, hey, oh wait, no, that's the wrong one. Angron. That's not the world.
Wrong accent. They're not the word bears. They're not Italian.
He teleported down and he was like, Angron, good job, man. I'm proud of you. Hey, check this out. It's a whole contingent of Space Marines, all for you. You can get the 12th Space Marine Legion, the Warhounds. And Angron was like, no.
Oh. He turned down Big E?
He literally refused outright. He said that he would rather die with his fellow slaves than desert them. He flat out refused.
He's a good boy. What a good boy. What a good boy.
The little Ang. These are my friends. These are the people I've been with for years. Like these are my people. I will not desert them. I refuse. And Emperor was like, what the hell? and then the Emperor left. He's like, shit, okay. And so he went back to his ship, just like flabbergasted, dumbfounded. What the hell? He actually refused me? What?
Yeah, who refuses Big E? Like, I figured once he was like, oh yeah, fuck you, Big E. Big E would do some sort of thing, or he would be like, oh yeah, well, fuck it, I just killed all your people. Now you've got nobody to stay here with, so you're coming with me, bitch. Damn, he just left? He's just, okay, fine, stay here and die.
Yeah, fine, whatever.
I don't care, it's not like I wanted you or anything.
Shut up. Shut up, you. So, at the end of as he left, and as the years went by, the last 1,000 of them were on, I think it's either the mountain that he landed on or a different mountain. But they were all making their way up the mountain, kind of being held back by about like 7 separate Nucerian armies. like
Ooh.
completely outnumbered, completely outgunned, and this was gonna be where they make their final stand. Like this is the end, right?
Yeah.
And what happened is that then out of nowhere, Angron just disappeared.
Oh, he just Houdini'd it?
And because the Emperor forcefully teleported him onto his ship.
Oh no!
and completely leaderless, Angron watched from orbit as all 1,000 of his gladiators were overrun and murdered by the armies and completely destroyed. They all died. Every single one of them.
What about Aang? Did Aang make it out?
I don't know if Aang made it out.
Oh no!
Little Aang didn't make it out.
No, the worst timeline. Oh god, if he wasn't angry before, boy, he's gotta be stark raving pissed now.
Well, in fact, he was so fucking angry that he immediately turned to the closest custodian and proceeded to beat him to death.
Oh,
which is impressive.
That's a custodian.
It's the custodians.
Holy shit! That's some anger. Oh.
He is fucking mad, and the only way he was put into submission was through the Emperor's psychic abilities. And Angron was like, "You had a teleporter. Why didn't you save them? Like, you could have saved them all." And Emperor said that he had bigger, grander plans for mankind, and a group of random slaves on a backwater world is not important enough.
Oh, what?
And it's like, holy shit, Dad!
Why are you such a bad dad? Like, oh my god, because I got to imagine if he was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna save all of them. I'm gonna teleport Angron and all of his people up here. You're all saved. You're now gonna form your own new chapter with all of your friends, and it's gonna be great. Maybe then he doesn't, turn to chaos. Maybe
maybe don't like reprimand your Batman character for doing what you told him to do. Maybe don't kill the father of your stinky man just to make a point. Maybe not let your son's closest friends all get murdered in front of his eyes and be like, they weren't important.
Fine. Oh, I didn't save them because they're fucking worthless. Oh, were they important to you? Nah, don't worry about it. They're fucking trash. Oh, you're so bad at this, Biggie.
Angron was literally like, what you've done, Emperor, what you've done, you now are only going to have like a ghost of a son. And Emperor said a ghost would suffice.
Oh.
So now this, Angron obviously took control of the Warhounds Legion, the 12th Legion. However, when I say take control...
Oh no.
He was a rage-filled, bitter person. Every time a member of the Warhounds went to his chamber to ask him something, he beat them to death.
Oh!
Every single time. Until one man named Captain Karn, and you'll be hearing Karn a bit soon, of the 8th Assault Company, was really fucking tired of Angron beating everyone who talked to him to death. So he went into, I'm gonna meet my primarch, and he went into the chambers, and he was immediately beaten by Angron.
Oh, of course.
But he was able to resist it for quite a bit.
And actually put up a good fight.
He put up a good fight, and that made Angron see his legion as not quite as terrible as he thought they would be.
They're not bugs that he needs to squash.
They grew a bit of rapport with each other, even though their first moments together was Angron beating the living shit out of him. But he was like, okay, maybe my legion isn't entirely worthless. And so they started to grow a bit of rapport with each other, talk about traditions and gladiator stuff. And he eventually then, finally took over the Warhound Legion. However, he renamed them to the World Eaters. As one, he is no hound dog of the Emperor. And two, the gladiators back in the day were known as the Eater of Cities. Remember?
Yep. As soon as you said they were called the city, the Eater of Cities, I was like, oh, is that how he gets the name World Eaters? Okay. And I can totally see how he would hate the name Warhound, because fuck the Emperor, right? Fuck the Emperor, fuck the Imperium, fuck everything they stand for. Yeah, I get that. That makes sense.
It's quote time, DK.
Oh, let's go. Let's get a good quote. Let's hear it.
So this is from Karn, who's also now known as Karn the Betrayer, but we'll discuss that later.
Oh.
The Emperor needed a weapon that would never obey its own desires before those of the Imperium. He needed a weapon that would never bite the hand that feeds. The World Eaters were not that weapon. We've all drawn blades purely for the sake of shedding blood, and we've all felt the exultation of winning a war that never even needed to happen. We are not the tame, reliable pets that the Emperor wanted. The wolves obey when we would not. The wolves can be trusted when we never could. They have a discipline we lack because their passions are not aflame with the butcher's nails buzzing in the back of their skulls. The wolves will always come to heel when called. In that regard, it is a mystery why they name themselves wolves. They are tame, collared by the Emperor, obeying his every whim, but a wolf doesn't behave that way, only a dog does. That is why we are the Eaters of Worlds and the Warhounds no longer.
And you say these guys turn to chaos, eh? You say
just a little. Just
you say
tad.
these guys don't follow the Emperor, eh? Is that what you?
Them going to chaos is the least surprising thing of all, even if it's still sad.
Yeah, it's like, oh, traitor legions are happening, so we've already lost the World Eaters, right? Yeah, okay. People are going traitor. Okay, so we've lost the World Eaters. We don't have any confirmation. I'm just gonna go ahead and assume. Yeah,
just give it a shot.
Yeah.
So when Angron was brought aboard, he was put to sleep by that guy Malcador. So Malcador, they put him to sleep with his psychic power because Malcador is like a ridiculous psyker, and they decided to check out his butcher's nails because they were like, the hell, and they found that they were not properly used for a primarch, as obviously being a primarch a little different than being in a regular Astartes. They created things like emotional instability, but removing them, they were so coiled into his brain and so deeply fed in that removing them would kill him. And it slowly also damaged the subject's ability to reason. The nails would slowly kill Angron, and he would probably die before the Great Crusade even ended. No longer was Angron having any pleasure in anything that wasn't the sensation of anger. Everything caused him pain. Like talking caused Angron pain. Thinking, walking, eating, sleeping caused Angron physical pain.
Oh, wow. That's so fucked up. That's not a great life to live.
No, I mean, living 40K ain't great in general, but this is a particularly bad life. This is the worst timeline.
Yeah, it is. He already had a fucked up life, but now literally everything causes him pain except rage. It wasn't bad enough that he had to watch all of his people die and be forced into essentially more slavery with the Emperor, but now literally everything he does is pain. Great. Jesus.
And the Emperor, in all of his wisdom, went to Malcador and said, "You keep this between us. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell Angron. Don't tell that he's dying. He'll be dead before the Great Crusade ends, but that's fine because Angron's a liability. Whatever, man."
Oh.
Yup.
Piggy is such a piece of shit.
I know.
Look, this is why when I start the tabletop, I'm playing Chaos because fuck the Corpse Emperor, man. That guy's a douche.
That guy's a douche.
That guy's a fucking douche. You know? You gotta say it like you're from Pittsburgh. That guy's a fucking douche.
Fucking douche.
Douche.
No, at least not from Cleveland. So Angron went working on his Legion, right? He decided to go full on blood for the blood. Well, not go on full for the blood for the blood god, but blood in combat was the only way to do true skill. Their training involved live firefights, like real blades, fighting pits, gladiatorial combat. These were the tests of the Astartes. He also, and this is one thing I'm not quite understanding of, and hopefully Shy might maybe help explain this, and if not Shy, then maybe a comment section. He actually had the Astartes under his Legion add the butcher nails to their brain as well, or at least attempt to put the butcher nails into their brain. But it proved quite difficult because of the old Dark Age technology. That's what they were. So creating a perfect construct for them was really difficult because they were already in his damn head. And every time he tried to put the butcher nails into one of his Astartes, it has a 100% mortality rate. Every single time they tried a different variant, it would kill the subject. Shai, do you know why he put them in their head? Like, he really hates them in his head. I would think he wouldn't want to put them in their head. I mean, I get the idea of making them better at combat, but I feel like he would kind of be... I don't, like... Would he not want... He wouldn't want to give them the same torture.
It seems
unless he just hates his legion?
I was gonna say, it seems like he doesn't really like his... Like, maybe he respects them a little bit, but he kind of hates them, so he's like, you're gonna suffer the way I suffer, because you're mine, and I hate you. Fuck Big E. He's the douche. And
I thought maybe, but at the same time, like, I think the only Primarch that truly hated their legion was Kurz. I don't think Angron hated everyone. Well, okay, maybe he hates everyone because he's Angron, but, like, not particularly. There we go. As far as I heard, they wanted to get butcher nails in their heads too because he was their dad. They figured the only way to understand and accept their fucked up dad would become as fucked up as he was.
oh,
That sounds like a loyal Astartes thing to do. That sounds like a loyal to the Primarch. I believe that.
That's quite the twist, actually, because, I mean, it started off with, like, yeah, I'm just gonna beat all of you to fucking death because fuck you and fuck the Emperor. But damn, that it turned around to the point where they're like, yeah, we want to understand you, Pops. Put the brain spike in my head, even though
Put in my head.
But I want a brain spike too, damn.
Wow, Karn, how come Dad lets you have 2 brain spikes?
I want 2 brain spikes too. Okay. No more complaining.
No, he's dead. Shit. Apothecary, get a better one. So, after trying to put brain spikes in and not working, it became the Great Crusade, of course. And Angron refused to acknowledge most of his sons, since none of them were even strong enough to survive the Butcher Nails implantation. One time, and I fucking love this, one time, he simply abandoned them. He hijacked a frigate and left. He just left. He went for the milk.
Guys, I'll be right back. You keep fighting. You're doing great. Dad's gotta go get some cigarettes. Be right back. It's like, Dad still hasn't come back, and all of us are almost dead.
He was gone for 2 years.
Oh.
They found him on a backwater world, living like a savage, hoping that someone would come and put him out of his misery and kill him.
Whoa.
Angron had mega depression. I don't know if he was as depressed as Kurz was, but he had some serious depression.
So while he was on this backwater planet, was he doing a lot of combat and raging? Because if he wasn't, his life was probably miserable. If he was just like slumming it up in like a jungle, then he was just literally living a life of pain and suffering because he had nothing to rage and kill.
He was probably maybe killing the animals or something. I don't really know what he was doing there, but he just wanted something to kill him. The person who found him, however, was that man Karn, and he chastised him. He was like, imagine your old gladiator friends. Imagine if they had seen him in the state that you're in right now. Imagine if like the last surviving slave was whining in a hole hoping for death. And like, you know, I mean, that spurred Angron to go back to his legion, but you know, Angron was still not pleased with that. But it did get him back to normal.
I was gonna say, if you want to piss off Angron, that sounds like a great way to do it.
It's a very good way.
Yeah,
Angron became known as the Red Angel. He hated the title. He despised it because there was already an angel. His name was Sanguinius, and he loathed Sanguinius.
I'm sure he did.
He's like the only, I think he's one of the only Primarchs that hated Sanguinius, because I think Sanguinius is like a great guy to everyone.
Yeah, I was going to say, you couldn't be more of a polar opposite to Angron than Sanguinius, right? One is just rage, hate the Emperor, this is all fucking stupid, I hate everyone, please everybody end me, die. And Sanguinius just loves everybody, he's great to everyone, Emperor's my best buddy, Dan. Polar opposites, these two.
he saw Sanguinius with the psychic powers and everything like that as kind of like a problem, whereas he, for all of Angron's faults, he saw himself as his own man, you know?
Right.
Now,
right.
this is a fun thing, and I really am excited to talk about this thing. So Angron, he had a rule. When in the Great Crusade, you have 31 hours, a normal Nucerian day instead of 24, you know, to take over the world that you're trying to go for, that in the Great Crusade, to subjugate the world. You have 31 hours. If you do not take it in 31 hours, 1 out of every 10 Space Marines will be forced to be beaten to death by the other 9.
Oh,
for your failure.
Oh, well, that's a great way to inspire everyone to move real quick and actually do what they're supposed to do, because you don't want to be that 1 out of 9.
No, you do not. So then we enter this situation called the Ghenna massacre. This is probably one of the best, like the biggest turning points in this situation, I think. So, in the world of Ghenna, whatever, there was a group of really ill humans in a colony of about like 1,000 people, give or take. And they accepted imperial rule completely peacefully. They were like really, they were like the Necrons or whatever, like really cancer-riven or whatever. They accepted imperial rule totally peacefully, kept alive in these little stasis pods. There's only like 1,000 people there. It's a tiny little colony. Yeah. However, the world went completely silent, and so Angron was sent to go find out what happened. And they found out that these people were actually being kept alive through the use of artificial intelligence. Biggie says that's bad.
Yes, he do.
So Angron sent down his people to deal with the problem with the usual 31-hour mark issue.
Sure.
Now, this caused a certain guy named Centurion Mago to make a really hasty, poorly executed landing because of that fear of the time limit. Turned out that the world contained 1,000 humans, but billions of simulacrum humans, billions of robotic forms of humans that were actually just AIs in human-looking bodies, like Blade Runner style.
Oh.
All being controlled by the 1,000 humans in the tanks.
Oh, that's a bigger uh-oh.
It's a big uh-oh. And those billions of humans started to overwhelm them hard.
Oh, I mean, that is a billion AI robot things, simulacrum bots. That's, ooh, good luck.
So, with that, they actually got overran, and they were eventually able to subjugate the world, or at least make their footing with some more heavy artillery and like tanks that they eventually arrived with, but they didn't meet the time limit.
Oh.
So, the Centurion Mago was, when they were ordered to kill the people, he flat out refused, which Angron found humorous. And then told him instead, hey Mago, you get to kill the first one. You're killing the first, which he also refused. Which then Angron went fucking ballistic and killed a couple dozen warriors in the room until his librarians and psychers were able to subjugate him to sleep, which he then didn't wake up from.
Oh, he just stayed in that sleep for a while.
He wasn't waking up. He wasn't waking up.
Well, I mean, hey, you win some, you lose some. I'm sure the rest of the Legion was. I'm sure the rest of the Legion was like, it kind of sucks that our leader is not waking up, but he's kind of a dick. Nobody's dying now. I don't have to. Yeah, 31 hours, dummy shit.
So while they were figuring out what to do with their leader asleep, one of the apothecaries actually found a stable method of implanting the butcher nails by reverse engineering the technology from this Ghenna place, and would now to implement them into the Legion. With the first person implementing them on was our good man Karn. When Angron finally awoke, he saw his legion with the nails in their head, and he commanded them to get their way back down to Ghenna and finally fully take over the world. And eventually, the Mago guy led a resistance group against him. Didn't work. He died. Rest in peace. But with the new butcher nails, it was like chump change. Killing through these robot humans was extremely easy. They were just slaughtering them to the point where it was so incredibly harsh that the astropaths across the sector felt the sheer volume of death.
Wow.
Which is a little weird to me because I thought that they like had just robots, but
yeah, you wouldn't think a psyker would feel a robot dying.
Yeah, I may have read that wrong, but point being, lots of death.
And it was super easy now.
Yeah, super easy. And then eventually Karn made his way inside the actual 1,000-person chamber, in which they all like got out of their tanks and like were pleading for their life. And Karn was like, "Lol," said Karn the betrayer, Lamau, who then immediately slaughtered every single one of them single-handedly.
Lamau Poggers, play of the game, goes to Karn for massive bloodshed and no mercy. Good job. Jesus.
So the massacre on Ghenna, the Emperor not pleased. He was like, "Wow, subjugate the world. Don't kill all of them." And so he was like, "Hey, Lehman Russ, go deal with him." And I was like, "We've heard this one before."
We sure have. Motherfucker. Fucking Lehman Russ.
Fucking Lehman Russ. Fucking woof, 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 woof.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, man, it reminds me of Little Aang now. Now I'm sad.
Oh, poor Little Aang. Oh.
So, basically, Russ arrived on Ghenna, and they kind of just met in like a field, just together, and very classic thing. And Lehman Russ was like, "Hey, you are to stop putting nails in people and take them out and stop killing humans." And Angron was like, "No, Lamau."
Yeah, I'm sure that went over real well. I was totally expecting Angron to just be like, "Oh, sure, my bad. Yeah, right, okay."
So they fought each other, obviously. It was kind of a stalemate. Apparently, both sides recorded that they won, but both sides believe they secretly lost. Kind of weird.
That's a hell of a fight.
It's like that one submarine battle way back when. I forget what it was called, but it was like both submarines thought the other one had died and they left.
Oh.
That was like some like World War II or one or something like that, but it was a silly little story.
Jeez.
Anyway, the heresy comes. Angron joined joyfully, stoked. Like, hell yeah, man. Abso-fucking-lutely.
There's any other option besides the Imperia and Big M's, and I can destroy his people, and I can hopefully overthrow him? Sign on the dotted line. Like, that's...
no problems needed.
Easiest choice I've ever made.
So, with him joining the heresy, we all know what's going on. Horus, all that kind of thing. Oh, hey, Chai gave me a quote.
Hey.
You kept that mule, Corferon. Russ kept his kin friends. The lion kept Luther, humans, brothers, and foster fathers, saved and raised into Legion rants. But not me, not Angron, no. Did the Emperor teleport his gold-wrapped custodians down to help me and my army? No. Did he free the warhounds and order them to battle? Fight alongside me? No. Did he save my brothers and sisters the way he spared and honored the lion's closest kin? The way he honored Corferon? No, no, and no. No mercy for Angron. Angron the Oathbreaker. Angron the Betrayer. And he's fucking right.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really argue with him. Big E was a fucking idiot. That's... Yeah,
So, a reminder, do you remember in the Gilliman episode, the Ultramarine episode, they had that big battle with the Word Bearers and the Fedora Lex ship? And
yes.
You remember that, right?
Did you see the edit of the ship actually being Fedora?
I did see the Fedora Lex. It was fucking great.
The best.
So, it was found out of course, that was the Kelth Crusade. And obviously, it was found that the nails were killing Angron at a faster rate than preferred. So Lorgar recommended they actually return to Nuceria, where the gladiatorial owners were, and learn more about how they functioned by the masters who put it in his damn head.
Makes sense.
So Lorgar promised to Angron they would learn all they could, and then they would burn the planet to ash. Because, of course, that's what Angron wants.
Sure.
So when they landed there, the first place that Angron went was to the mountaintop where his gladiators made their last stand. And all he found were bones, exposed to the elements of 1,000 people and little Ang. All there.
Little
all
Ang.
there with like some with bullet holes in the heads and just like skulls exposed to the elements. And that right there was too much for Angron to bear. Like I think he like broke down sobbing. I don't quite remember exactly what he did, but he was fucking sad.
I can imagine those were his people. If he loved anyone, it would have been them. They were his slaves, his friends, those who he was raised with, who he fought in bloody combat with. And yeah, I imagine that would be a bit much to deal with. Yeah.
So he went to the palace, and he learned that the tale of his defense that was told to the city afterwards was that Angron fled as a coward with his tail between his legs and left the rest of his gladiators to die. Now, this was not a nice revelation to Angron.
Nope. I imagine that was the worst.
It was, in fact, so bad that he killed everyone in the room, and then he told his legion to kill everyone in the city, and when they were done with that, kill everyone on the planet. And this is when the Ultramarines arrived, of course, as you remember from our previous story. And okay, so that was when they arrived. Then they had their big fight. Remember, Guilliman was fighting Lorgar, and then Angron Kool-Aid Man through the wall, and he's like, "Wow!" That's actually an orc thing. He was like, "Oh yeah,
oh yeah." Yep.
And as they were fighting, there's a fact that was omitted in the Guilliman episode. When they were attacking each other, Guilliman got a good punch on Angron's chest plate, right? And it actually knocked a skull that was hanging from his armor off of his plate. And Guilliman, the skull rolled towards Guilliman, who then crushed it underneath his foot because, Guilliman's fighting him. And it was one of the skulls of the gladiators.
Oh no! One of his best friends. Oh no!
He took some of the bones and stuff from his best friends and put it on his armor, as to symbolize and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And Guilliman was just like crunch, and that set Angron into a fit.
No kidding! You don't say. Please tell me more.
So yeah, he started going mad. He was whacking at Guilliman, going. But of course, we remember this one. Butcher nails were killing him. He's getting a problem.
Gets turned into a
correct,
demon, right? Yeah.
This is exactly when Lorgar does his bullshit, and then rains marinara sauce, and then and then he turns into a demon. And this is when he did
big demon,
a big fucking demon. This is when he turns into the demon primarch. Now, obviously Guilliman fled. We've been over all this thing. Past this, Nuceria did die as Angron had hoped. Every living soul on Nuceria has been killed. And Angron, in his new demon primarch form, returned to the ship and immediately slaughtered every librarian in his army, which are the Psychers.
Yeah. Okay.
And this was the last point. Because Lorgar was kind of offering Angron and stuff to the wills of Khorne anyway during that Hamina, obviously because he turned into a Khorne demon. Sure. But Khorne saw Angron kill the last Psyker in the entire goddamn army. And Khorne was like, yay, encore, let's go, I hate Psychers, fuck Tzeentch, woo!
It's true, it probably would make Khorne very happy, wouldn't it?
He was stoked, and so that was basically the point where they fully fell into Khorne.
Okay.
That's when the full point when they went straight full on Khorne demon.
Now they're fully Traitor Legion, fully chaos, fully under Khorne's reign.
They literally, Angron literally went to Karn and said, slaughter the lower decks of slaves and bring their skulls to me and build me a throne of skulls on my ship.
Wow, that's hardcore.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh boy. I'm sure they actually did too. Like I'm sure that wasn't just metaphorical. Like he probably does legitimately have a Skull of Thrones on that ship, doesn't he?
Skulls, a blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne.
Fair. They don't say that for kicks.
They don't. So our last bit to talk about was the siege of Terra. Now the World Eaters got fully cornered right now. Angron wanted to be first in on the palace, first guy. But the Emperor's psychic defenses made it really rough and would probably kill him, but he didn't really give a shit. And Horus instead chose the Death Guard to be first in. And Angron was like, ooh, and then he started murdering everyone in sight on his ship.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess I can't feel too sorry for him because they're all chaos anyway, so who fucking cares if they get murdered, right?
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, who cares?
Now, during this period of time, we have newly favorited best girl. Now we're gonna talk. Latara Serene or Saren, Captain Latara Saren or whatever. All right. Listen, DK, we're gonna talk a lot more about her next week. Okay, but
okay.
I have never seen a woman walk with fucking nuts of tungsten, with ovaries of pure titanium like this before. Let me make this clear. She, a mortal human, was the captain of the flagship of the World Eaters.
Whoa.
She was the captain.
Whoa, and she's just a mortal human woman. There's no psyker powers. She doesn't have. Does she at least have some power armor or something? Like
nothing. She is there. She is in that picture right there, bottom right.
Oh,
Latara Saren. That's all, and she is arguably one of the most ruthless World Eater characters out there. We'll talk more about her in next episode. Don't you fucking worry.
Oh,
all right.
Wow.
Don't you fucking worry. But point being, since she was the captain of the ship of the Conqueror, she was like, well, Angron's not doing his thing again, but she might kill the tech priest that handled the ship's reactor. Okay, and then she conspired with this Night Lord captain and sent Karn to go deal with Angron, and then Karn got his ass kicked, but he slapped a teleport homer onto Angron's chest, and they teleported him away, and they teleported him into that maze that was built by Perturabo that Conrad Kurz used to break Vulcan and torture him.
Right, yeah.
They teleported him in there to just lose his mind in for a while until the actual psychic defense barrier on Terra was down. And then they literally opened the airlock and yeeted him from the ship into the deep space onto Earth. And he came down like a meteor and he landed on the ground like a feast. They were like, go Angron, get him! Yeet!
He's fucking airlocked.
Yeah, they just sucked him out of the airlock, and he was like, and he fucking landed like a meteor on the surface.
Oh, God, that's
no,
great.
like, no jetpack, no fucking parachute, just like,
here I come. Jesus Christ! When you said they put him in Perturabo's maze, the first thing that came into my head was all I could picture was like that Juggernaut scene in the X-Men movie where he's just plowing through walls and just, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. That's like all I can imagine him doing is just plowing through every wall, just hoping to get to the exit, like not even caring about strategy. Which way have I gone? He's just fucking barreling through every wall he sees. That seems like the Angron way to get through a maze.
It's the Angron way.
The Angron way, yes.
This is where I'm probably going to end the episode. Obviously, they lost. Obviously, they had to bail. We all know this. This is all aware.
Yep, Horus
they had
Heresy
to leave.
Didn't go well for them. Yep.
It did not. But Angron and all the World Eaters post Heresy will be something that I want to talk about in the World Eaters episode. So I'm ending it at a bit of a cliffhanger. We're going to talk more about Karn next episode. We're going to talk more about Latara Sarin. Oh, yeah, we are. Get to work on that poster. All right.
Are we gonna have another waifu poster that everybody can print out and okay, never mind. I won't.
What do you think of Angron, DK?
It's a lot more complicated than I thought, right? Because like whenever someone says Angron, I'm just like, oh, he's angry. There's a butcher nail that's making him more angry. Whatever, he's chaos. Cool. But like, man, what a fucked up life he had. Like pre-spike, and then post-spike, and then the Emperor just totally fucking him over. Whew. I do like Angron though, and he is a lot more complex than I thought he was gonna be. I thought it was just gonna be an angry boy that enjoyed murder, and it is so much more complicated than that.
It really is, and it makes, I think it might be the one Primarch that makes me hate the Emperor the most.
Yeah,
because like he makes a good point. He could have teleported his fucking custodians down there and helped them. Mm-hmm. He could have teleported them all up. He could have done so much, and he just chose against it.
Yeah, there were so many things he could have done to stop this and just make Angron like him.
Yes, that's the thing. Is, you know, there's an old quote. I think it was from House of Cards, the TV show with Kevin Spacey, which isn't great for me to quote Kevin Spacey anymore. But the quote was good, and he was making like a call to some guy, and his quote was like, "It's an inconvenience for me, but means the world to him."
Yep.
And I'm just like Emps, you could have sent down a couple custodians, even just yourself, and you would have fought for maybe a day at max.
Max, not even that probably. For Emps, he probably wouldn't even taken him a day.
And you would have had the full support of your son, and this all would have maybe not happened, but you couldn't be fucked to do it. You couldn't be fucking bothered. You know, as much,
and that's the story of the Emps with most of his kids turning to chaos is like, you could have stopped that, you know, like if you weren't such a petulant man child, you could have stopped that right at the root. It's
honestly something that I find myself enjoying the Chaos Primarchs more, because I think their stories are always generally tragic or sad or have depth, and it's like that's just so much. That's so interesting. Yep. I mean, Guilliman's story is good because of his resurrection, as opposed to his actual story. But like, I need to read up on Dorn and stuff and more. But the other ones don't feel
reading with Dorn.
I forgot he's illiterate. You're right. I forgot. Oh. Anyway, all right. Now I'll take us home.
Now you can take us home.
All right, thank you everyone for watching this episode. That's ridiculous. My name's been Bricky. You can find me Bricky everywhere. Also, we might have a new merch ready for next week. A brand new merch.
Let's go, brother.
Let's go, brother. DK, where can they find you, brother?
Oh yeah, DK Diamantes everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. We don't talk about Instagram because frazzle. Yeah, DK Diamantes everywhere.
And you can find Shy at Quite Shallow. It's about what she feels like. We'll see you next week for more World Eaters and for Tungsten Ovaries Latara Serene.